Oilersnation After Dark begins now.
What a game. Literally, that one had absolutely everything. Goals, fights, highlight saves, and of course, some incredibly bad puck luck once again for the Edmonton Oilers. I did pregame from home or from the office today. I then came home, and I can't lie to you guys, like 5 minutes before we went live, I cut my toe so badly. It's bleeding all over the place. And I might have to go get stitches after this, but we power through. We do what we do live from my version of the Sports Closet studio, where I see too many comments to even begin. This is a lot of angry energy. So let's get right into it. Let me bring in my guest tonight. He is none other than the one, the only, Matthew Wozniak. Woz, are you there? How are you doing?
I'm here.
Buddy?
How we doing? How we're doing? We're not doing great. Feels like I've said that often after
I'm
Oilers
having
games.
some bad internet connections trying to hear you right now, Woz.
Yeah. Aaron's having a tough go tonight.
Okay, well, hi,
Everything's
Woz. We're
going
going to have
wrong.
to slowly figure this one out as we go. I see people calling me out on bad internet. I don't know. I've done a million shows from home before, so hopefully this one figures its stuff out. I see people saying choppy, also saying go to the hospital. This isn't worth it. That's not what we do here. We power through with the boys. Pat, I might need you to come on throughout yes and no here to try and mediate some conversation if my connection does not continue. Woz, how are you doing?
Doing okay. Could be better. The Oilers, not so great right now, fair to say. Again, we're having this conversation, right? So it sucks.
Yeah, there's really no better ways to say it. Everybody in here, I think they're pretty thankful, Woz, that you're inside the chat. Everybody loves Woz, loves a good Woz sighting. You get to come join me on After Dark because you're a generous guy. You show up when I need you the most. So, Woz, did you enjoy it? Where did you watch the game? At home?
At home, and I wish we were at the office now, but things happen and whatnot. But it was an interesting game to say the least. We started out hot, and then things we experienced Edmonton Oilers hockey.
Yeah, we sure did. I saw that a lot on social media, that this is what Edmonton Oilers hockey is. I like Michael in here said bad internet, just like bad Oilers hockey. It's exactly what we want. So, Woz, this is going to be a you show today. This is you go nuts if my connection is this bad. You're the face tonight, buddy. Are you ready?
I'm always ready. I'm used to it.
That's right. That's my dog right there. Okay, let's get into the Crown Royal scoring summary brought to you by none other than Crown Royal. If you have a bottle at home and you did not dip into that thing, I don't know what to tell you. You got to dig into that and get it going right now because I know I did. Just a tad, but the scoring summary started off hot. It started out the way we wanted it to go. Connor McDavid able to get on the score sheet early. He gets a nice one-timer from down below the goal line, and he's able to bury it. It was a great feed, I believe, from Leon Draisaitl. Of course, we get on it early. Vibes were good, Woz. Vibes were good.
No, they were good, and that goal Connor scored was very reminiscent of a goal he scored against the Ottawa Senators in 2020. Oh, not a goal Leon Draisaitl scored in 2021. It almost felt like they were reversed roles. Connor scoring from Leon's office, Leon with the dish. It was, what we saw from 97 almost last year when he was just shooting the pill for fun, basically. It's something that we've been missing from 97, so it's good to see that his shot is still intact. It's still doing good work.
Yeah, exactly. It started going we wanted. And then what? That was just under 6 minutes in. 3 minutes later, it's Evander Kane, comes onto the ice with fresh legs, goes right to the net, right to the slot. Who could have seen that one coming? Gets into open space. I believe it was Derek Ryan.
Derek Ryan.
Made no mistake, that was a great play by Evander, but go off on your boy, please.
DR was looking like 97 out there. It was a sweet dish, great apple. And, maybe Knobloch's going to say, hey, Derek, you want to be up in the top line a bit more? Gagne wasn't playing, and Gagne's been getting top line minutes, but I doubt it. But it was just good to see DR get an apple. He's now on a 2-game point streak. So it was good. It was a great start for the Oilers, and it's a common theme that we've seen throughout the season where the Oilers have actually had some pretty solid starts, and then everything just starts to unravel.
Yeah, it was pretty much a replay of Saturday night, getting a nice early lead, and then it started going the other way. It was the Florida Panthers' Carter Verhaeghe on the power play, I do believe. Yep, right in the slot, untouched. He goes top shelf. Shocker, that's a high danger area, and that is what the Oilers love to give up. High danger chances. You can't leave a player like that wide open like that. That's not on Calvin Pickard at all. That's just a bad play, and we deserve that one.
No, 100%. The Oilers defensively have been absolutely. I mean, this game was one of the more atrocious defensive outings we've seen in a while. A lot of these goals, Calvin Pickard he's trying his ass off here. He's doing all right. He's in this situation for a reason, and ultimately the defense in front of him needs to be a lot stronger.
Yep, I couldn't have said that better myself. A lot of people in here, they're ready for some positivity. I keep seeing it in here, so that's pretty good. Once again, I apologize for my awful connection right now. I have no idea what to do. I'm rattled. My toe is bleeding everywhere below me right now. But we power through, baby. That's what we do. I believe the boys are also recording a new episode of Oilers Nation Radio right now. Just think, this is a podcast. Don't look at us. Just don't look at us right now. And just use the audio, baby. But 2-2, it continued. The Panthers get back on the board. It was Mikola once again, or his first one. Tough night for the Oil in their own end. Puck luck was a big theme tonight. They get a D-zone face-off win. Matthias Ekholm tries to get the puck out. It hits Zach Hyman in the direct back as he's trying to make a change. He tries to turn around, come back on the ice.
Yeah.
Panthers pick it up, drop it to Mikola. And he buries it, but I needed Calvin Pickard to make that stop. That was a very makeable save, and he didn't do it,
Yes, I totally agree. And what's interesting? As I was cruising social media, I was making my tweets. Some people are actually blaming Evan Bouchard because he didn't dump the puck quick enough, or he mishandled the puck in a situation that it all started because of Evan Bouchard. In my opinion, that's not Bouchard's fault. There was a number of issues that led to that goal. If Zach Hyman didn't get in the way of Ekholm's, dump, there would not have been a goal. And I do agree with you. I think Calvin Pickard should have saved that. Not all the goals were his fault tonight, but however, that is a goal that Pickard needs to save. The Oilers in general could have done a lot better in their defensive zone on that play. Just better overall awareness. I don't want to pin that goal on Bouchard like some people were even saying. It's just, it was just one of those moments where it was a little unlucky just because Hyman didn't appear to understand that a puck was coming his way. So it's just goalie, defense, all could have been better on that play.
Yep, exactly. Then we move along to the second period. Vibes were good. I thought it was Connor McDavid's night. I thought he was going to get – I would have been ready to toss my hat from all the way here. He gets tripped up on a breakaway. Waz, let me start with this. How scared were you when you saw him fly into the boards and smash his shoulder into the end board?
A little bit, because he did seem a little rattled, but I think anyone would have been a little, shaken up after a play like that. And we've seen Connor McDavid had, I think, he broke his collarbone in his rookie season. So we've seen them get injuries from plays like that. But fortunately enough, the Edmonton Oilers get a penalty shot because of it.
Yep. And Connor goes down on the penalty shot. He goes in slow. I'm a guy that always says I want them to go in with speed, come at the goalie fast, make him back down. I'm also not going to tell Connor McDavid how to score on a penalty shot, so I kept that to myself. He goes in slow, waits out Sergei Bobrovsky, and scores. I thought it was really funny right after. Bobrovsky was looking around like, where is that puck? Like he had no idea. He had just been taken out back and worked a little bit. But right after the Connor McDavid goal, terrible luck as Verhaeghe's stick goes flying in their own end. That stick flew so much in the air, it somehow ends up by our blue line. They take the puck, pick it up. Poor Philip Broberg, man. That's puck luck right there. It was rough
100%.
for him. He trips
100%.
on it. Mikula throws it on net. Somehow it finds its way in. I think it hit a laggard. No, it hit Pickard, and then it went in. His first ever 2-goal game. If that wasn't a microcosm of what tonight's game was, I don't know what will be, because that was it in a nutshell right there.
Yeah, and I felt a little bad for Broberg because he was a little unlucky there. I don't think he anticipated a stick to be there. He was focused on the puck in the play, and next thing you know, the puck's in the back of our end, and it was just an ugly play. It's just to watch it unravel the way it did. And it was funny. I think the Florida Panthers commentators even said, "Oh, Bouchard falls on the stick." No, it was Philip Broberg, and it was just the Oilers' defense is having so many issues to begin with, and just to see that happen, it was like, why can't we have just a little bit of luck on the back end,
Just a little bit. Just like it's things like that. It's tough. It's one of those years. Today was one of those games. But once again, you get an early 2-0 lead. I have a tough time feeling sorry for them with puck luck and things. I always say on the show, you make your own luck. So that is a tough one there. And to end the period, it was another odd man rush given up by the Oilers. Theme. You've heard me say that a couple times this year. But they stopped the rush. Play stays in our end. Super scrambly. Pickard ends up losing his net and his whereabouts, where he is. And one of the weakest shots I've ever seen flubs its way into the open net. I believe it was Stenlund or whatever. That was a backbreaker to not end the second period, but that one was tough. A lot of the wind was taken out of our sails. And I came in the chat here right after that one had happened, I believe. And I said, what is everybody's confidence level? 0 to 10. I saw 1 7 out of 10. The rest were 1s, 2s, 1s and 2s. Did you feel as broken as the fans did after that one?
Yeah. Look, there's a lot of blame going around. Everyone's trying to pick a scapegoat, whether it be Bouchard, Draisaitl, Conor Brown. Ultimately, it's the team defense that needs to be all around more solid. It's just everyone needs to up their effort on the back end on the defensive side of the puck.
Yeah, it's kind of everywhere, but for me, it's always going to be defense. I don't worry about this team's ability to score goals. I've seen our players. I've seen our top 6. It's tough, though. I'm not having fun. And boy, every time I look down, there's more blood below my foot. We keep going. Let's get into the good, bad, and the oily, presented by Alberta Blue Cross. There's only one thing better than sharing memories, and that's making new ones. Alberta Blue Cross travel insurance protects your memories and more wherever travel takes you. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel for more information. Man, I hate this looking in the chat right now from Dacky. He says, Bordsy, I'm at the point where I'm cheering against this team now. I'm turning heel. I don't like that, Dacky. You're still in here. I still know you're a deep fan. You're deep rooted. You can't leave the boys like that, right, Waz? We gotta be sticking together in times like this.
I 100% agree, but I do understand where Dacky's coming from, because it is getting to the point of the season with how the Oilers are playing where fans are starting to tune out a bit because they are tired of seeing these defensive mishaps, the goaltending. It's like the Oilers are starting out nice and hot. They kind of grab you. They're like, we're gonna have some fun tonight. No, we're not. And it's just like it's like a tease at the start. You go to early lead, but you know what? Wild card spot. That sounds fun. A race for the wild card. Count me in. I'm in for that.
Hey, I will take whatever I can get at this point. So I'll take a wild card smiling. I'd be the happiest guy in the world if we were even just in a position. We talk all the time. You need to be in a playoff position come American Thanksgiving. Well, the last time I checked, that's on Thursday, and we are not in a playoff spot. We're not even close. So it's got to be batting down the hatches time. I see it in here. Jaden Celebrini season. No, I am not back at draft lottery talk yet. I am not there, and I will not get there until at least 60 games into this season. But okay, let's take a look at the good tonight. This one, pretty obvious. I feel like it started out very positive. It's funny because on my screen, I can't see it, but I know that it's Connor McDavid gets back on track. 2 Genos tonight. That's what we've been looking for. We said we hoped that Connor and the big dogs would start it after the game on Saturday. You get all the supporting goals. You get depth scoring, and McDavid dry left off the score sheet. That wasn't the case tonight. Connor showed up and showed out. What'd you think of his game?
Oh, it was fantastic. It was there's a reason why he's the reigning Rocket Richard winner, right? The 64 goals. It was very reminiscent of what we saw from Conor McDavid last season. Unfortunately, this season he hasn't been shooting as much, or he hasn't been getting as many shooting opportunities. So it very much looked like the Connor of old. However, I think the Connor of old would also put up like 3 extra points, have a few more assists, but he gave his team a chance to win. And it was interesting if you look back at it. The game against who was it? Who did we play against last time? Carolina, was it? My head. Tampa Bay. We had the bottom 6 scoring. And, yes, and then tonight we had the top 6 scoring. So Connor showed up, and the rest of the team just kind of was there.
Yeah, exactly. And while I say McDavid's back on track, I don't want to get too lovey-dovey and positive here because I see it a ton in that chat, and I was screaming during the game. There's something up with Connor McDavid's ability to make simple passes right now. Even his cross-ice power play ones, they're getting tipped out of the zone. There was him trying to take the whole defense 1-on-5 like he always does, late on a power play. He got stopped, sent back in our end. It's not all there for McDavid right now. It's nice to see him get 2 Genos because it's been kind of rough looking at his stats right now. So he's not all the way back. I don't want to get too lovey-dovey with Connor right now because right now everybody's on the chopping block. Woz, would you agree with that take?
100%. If your name is not Draisaitl or McDavid, I would say you are on the chopping block, and I think everyone should be considered. It's unfortunately that's just the reality we're in right now. The Oilers need a shakeup. I don't know what that shakeup's going to look like. They needed some sort of goaltenders. The question is, who do you ship out? I know fans are scared to think of trading a Nugent-Hopkins or somebody, but it's probably a conversation for another time. And just on top of that, I found Connor McDavid's passing and Draisaitl's passing both be very strange recently. I feel like maybe they're just a little overconfident in their passing, especially when they try to do these like backhand cross ice passes. They kind of Hail Mary it and expect to get to someone. And yeah, that would work last season 100%, but this time around it's just turning into turnover after turnover and putting the team in a scary position.
It's not last year at all, Woz. I keep banging my head against the wall going, what happened from last season to this season? Keep saying it all the time. Was Clem Costin and Nick Bukestad actually that good? I choose to not think so, and I don't understand what's going on. Sometimes it's bad luck. That leads me into the bad, and it's puck luck for me tonight, dude. We talked about it earlier here. The clear from Ekholm to hit Hyman on the back. That sucked. That's a play that gets made all the time. We're in our own end. We try to get a change. Hyman doesn't even change. He gets back on the ice because he noticed. Then it's Philip Broberg tripping up on the stick, doing his thing, falls flat on his back. Same thing. I can think of like at least 2 missed high sticks by the referees. Once again, I've never been a guy to really sit on here and bitch about the refs. That's just not who I am. Reffing goes both ways in my mind. But there was 2 tonight that I believe Derek Ryan took one in the face and somebody else, they were missed. I was up my couch screaming, losing my mind. Puck luck didn't go our way tonight.
No, 100%, and also goes towards the offense as well. I think there was a moment in the game where Leon Draisaitl got robbed on an opportunity where typically he would get scored on. And you can basically understand why Leon Draisaitl has been so frustrated with himself this season, because everything that he's doing would typically work, where everything is just not going his way. I mean, it's ridiculous because it's either he's fluffing on the shots, he's getting robbed, the puck's hitting the post or the side of the net. Typically, we would see Leon Draisaitl scoring from his office. Instead, tonight it was Connor McDavid. So I don't know. It's just both ends of the ice. The Oilers are not getting enough puck luck, and then when they're not getting puck luck, they are playing poorly in their zone or in the neutral zone. It's just so many little things that are going wrong for the Oilers. It's really ending up biting them in the ass.
Yep, I see it here. Number one fan. The hockey gods are not on our side right now.
Mm-mm.
And that's the thing, is when you're not getting the bounces, and you're not getting things going your way, you have to tighten up so hard in the defensive end. You can't be making simple mistakes, because that's when it snowballs. And those are the backbreakers that we talked about earlier this year. It's tough once you see a backbreaking goal go against you. You take a bad penalty. You see one of those goes off Hyman's back. It's so hard to keep yourself motivated and what are we doing this for when stuff like this happens? But you got to dig deep, and we have to keep believing. That's what we do here at Oilers Nation After Dark. Okay, my Oily tonight, this one could go a million different ways, but it's the Matthew Tkachuk effect. So we all remember the turtle. Okay, we remember that guy. Every time I see his face, it takes me back to just a real angry place in my life and time. And for two teams that do not play each other often, the Florida Panthers, this game had so much animosity, so much of a physical presence, so much energy. We saw Vinny fights. We saw a scrum after arguably every single whistle. And I don't know if it's the Tkachuk effect. I said on pregame with Bordsy, I think his presence alone was going to get Connor and Leon fired up. But it seemed like it got the whole team going tonight, and it wasn't just Tkachuk. It was everybody on that Panthers squad.
No, 100%. I think if you were a neutral watching this game, you got a lot of entertainment value. I mean, you had hitting, you had fighting, you had Connor McDavid scoring goals. What else? It's just absolute mishaps in the defensive side. It was just a fun game to watch, honestly, if you were a neutral. The Florida Panthers crowd we're getting into, I thought for a minute, I was like, this sounds like a playoff game. And at first, there weren't too many Panthers fans in the building, and they ended up showing up just in time for a circus of a game. Is that a good way to put it? I don't know. Yeah.
That I think is a nice definition of that game right there. It was crazy. I said Jack Michaels had his great line saying, if you don't like this kind of hockey, then don't watch with me. I was watching alone on my couch, freaking out. And then I later did, who said it in here in the chat? Steven? I love it. This man is bleeding for your entertainment. Hit the like button. That's right. I am grinding hard. I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's a lot of blood on this tissue next to me. But we powered through. Who knew that I have to walk on these feet too? This really happened. There was a minute left in the game, and I stepped on one of those floor vents and just sliced my whole toe. It's pretty rough right now, but that's your good, bad, and oily. The oily could have been talked about forever there. It was an angry, animosity-filled game. There was a fair amount of penalties. Let me ask you, for the one where Zach Hyman had to go, he got a 10-minute misconduct. Bullshit. That's bullshit.
Oh my God.
But he was getting in a little scrum there with Sam Bennett. Bennett's face washing him. He's chirping him, ragdolling him around. And you could tell Zach Hyman didn't want to take a penalty there because we were on the power play. Otherwise, I fully believe he was going to go beat his ass because he was pretty angry. Then somehow it takes 5 minutes for them to figure it all out. They then send Hyman in the box. I'm okay with that. But Kane has to go in, serve a 10-minute misconduct. I don't know, Waz, what did you think of that? Because I did not think that deserved 10 minutes.
I was looking at that. I'm just generally wondering, what went wrong? Did someone get their face bashed in? I didn't see that. No one could the refs not handle the chirping? Was something said that we couldn't hear on the broadcast? Obviously, they're like, oh, you know what? That's enough out of you. Just go sit in the box. I felt like the refs were trying to control it a bit. They were just trying to control the festivities as best as they could, and they felt the best way of doing that was putting someone in the box for 10 minutes, apparently. So it was soft.
I looked at it here on my score app, and it says that it went to Evander Kane. He has 14 minutes in penalties, so I'm even more confused. I get he had to serve it, but I don't know. Somebody here can fill me in because number one fan says it good. Refs were on acid. I don't chirp the refs, but tonight I was incredibly confused on several times, and of course it's Evander Kane. Also, side note with Evander Kane, that guy is in every single scrum, chirping and smiling with those beautiful teeth of his, and I can't get enough of it. If that was against me and I had to play against that, that would drive me up the wall.
Oh, yeah.
But he's on our team, and he's our guy, so I love it every time. Do you, Waz?
Evander Kane, I love when he kind of gets feisty because no one else will. He brings a different kind of energy to the roster, especially in these. You kind of want that energy on your team. I don't care what sport you're playing. You want a teammate like that who's willing to really not back down from anyone. I think Vincent Desharnais is another great example on this team who that just someone who can stand up and really not take anyone's crap.
Yeah, okay, let's continue with that. Vinny Desharnais, I don't know if I've seen a guy be on auto shed with the mitts as fast as he was. He got rid of those things and was ready to fight within a second. It felt like he was ragdolling that guy. It was a very long fight. I was exhausted just watching it. They cut to Vinny in the bench right afterwards, just sucking air back. He had no breath left in his body. What do you think of Vinny?
Look at his knuckles. He had ice on the knuckles. Like, he's just cooling off a bit. It's like, oh, that was a good fight.
Hey, that's a hockey player right there. And he had no tooth, too. He's missing a tooth. The visual all time. I see everybody here in the chat, so it's not just me. Nobody has an explanation for that 10-minute misconduct. They said it wasn't explained. I like this here. Kane got 10 minutes for being Kane. That's kind of what it felt like tonight. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to bitch.
I wouldn't be surprised. We
lost that game because we didn't play good enough.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if the refs probably just aren't a fan of Evander Kane, the way he talks and the way he acts, and they just might, you know what? I don't know. The NHL, there's probably some deep-rooted stuff there that we don't know of, but who knows?
Yep, exactly. If you're just joining us, I apologize for my connection. I'm on my own personal laptop. Normally, I'm on a different one. So I think this might be all the evidence I need to get the nation to buy me a new computer, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I was able to get a nice little work laptop a few years ago, and it's worked well. So I don't even think it's your laptop, sir. I think you might have to talk to your service provider because you've never had issues in the past.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why I think it is the computer, because I've done the show from home a lot, and I've never had this issue before. But I thank you for staying with us. Smash the like button. I see my brother in the chat right there. Auto Shed Vinny is the best Vinny. That's what me and my brother used to call it when you play Chell and you just smash triangle or Y. But okay, I want to get into my hot and cold DoorDash performers of the game. Say ding dong.
Ding dong.
Thank you. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter the code, all capitals, Nation25. See, Lance gets it. He says all capitals. Get Bordsy a new laptop. You can also get some discount money off with DoorDash using all capitals. But okay, for my hot performer, I want to take this one to a little different. It's off the ice for my hot performer.
Ooh.
It's Jamal Mayers. I really like how he calls the game. Don't get me wrong. I love Louis. I want Louis all the time. I believe he's on the dad's trip with the Boston Bruins right now. I do believe. But Jamal Mayers, I know he's called games before. Gina told me he used to call them for the Blackhawks. I did not know that. But he just sees the game in a different way than Louis does. He breaks it down like in the moment and kind of explains reasons why that happened, where you would play that. I don't know. Let me know in the chat what you think of Jamal Mayers so far, because I really think he's pretty good. What's your takeaway of him?
Oh, yeah. I was liking his breakdowns on plays. He didn't seem too biased towards things that were happening towards the Oilers. And for those wondering where Louis DeBrusk is, he's a part of the centennial festivities with the Boston Bruins. So he's just kind of with the Bruins at the moment, just hanging out and having a fun time. But Jamal Mayers has actually surprised me. I was a little on the fence with him when he was kind of like on the panel, but as a commentator, I've kind of enjoyed him, honestly.
Yeah, I think he's been pretty good. Let me know in the chat. I like this from Final Buzzer. He says the connection is in your toe. Could possibly be. He tripped on the internet cord. Yeah, Chell, just hardwire my internet connection. If I didn't already do that, then I should probably get fired from an internet company. Yes, I'm hardwired in. I always am. That's why I just think it's the computer. And Lance says it best. Get off your wallet, nation. Come on. Let's get her going. Do you have any hot performers tonight, Waz? Anybody that stood out to you besides Connor McD, really?
Besides Connor McDavid, ooh, that's a tough one. Can I go Derek Ryan? with a nice assist. I thought he was in the mix. He was trying to do his best on the PK, but other than Connor McDavid, it's really hard. I mean, Calvin Pickard came in and tried his best. I mean, there was a goal he could have saved, and he faced a lot of shots. But yeah. Also, Connor McDavid just post game did interesting quote came out. He said, "You love this question, but I've answered it so many times." So he's getting a little pissy as well, Mr. Connor McDavid.
We see some people in the media getting a little angry. If you're a football guy, Brandon Staley the other day, he said if they were going to if he was going to keep calling the defense, he looked right at the media member and said, "Stop asking that question. Don't ever ask it again." I like a spicy Connor, but this isn't the way I want my spicy Connor. That is for sure. For cold performers from our friends at DoorDash, let me know in the chat who you kind of want to single out, because I don't know. There's a lot of options tonight. I did have written down the refs, because I know I'm not a bitcher about that. But, man, those high sticks, I was losing my mind on there. Just the 10-minute misconduct. I know we just touched on it, but they were cold performers. I'm not a fan of it. Also, I don't know if I'm the only one who notices this, being a producer guy. The camera angle that the Florida Panthers shoot their game from is like lower to the ground than most, and it really threw me for a loop. I always hate it. I don't like it. I'm seeing people in here for the Hawks. Kane was good. Nuge. I don't know if that's for cold. Yeah. Bouchard, of course, is there for the cold performer. I just wanted somebody else to say it before me. What'd you think of Evan Bouchard today? The roller coaster continues.
I wasn't happy with his play on that fourth goal specifically. I thought Bouch looked a bit lackadaisical, if anything. He seemed just really desperate, and he was trying to kind of clear the puck, but in the same breath, on that fourth goal, every Oilers forward, everybody on the ice was a mess. It seemed like just they didn't know where to be. Draisaitl's out there far left, following 77, whoever that was. I'm like, Draisaitl, why are you all the way over there? You should be helping a Bouchard or something. Bouchard didn't know where he wanted to be. It was just an absolute mess. Conor Brown, that's my cold performer, because this guy, he's been invisible. I don't know. Like, Conor Brown, what are you doing right now, man? What are you doing for us? You're not doing much. He's looked slow. He hasn't been really matching the pace that we want him to play. It's, oh, God. Like, I don't like throwing players under the bus, but Conor Brown, like, it's been like 14 games, man. I know you've been injured. It's no excuse at this point, I think. We need to see something out of him. We need some production.
I get it, and once again, we don't like to be the guys to come at players, especially off an injury like Conor Brown has, but let's call a spade right now. I'm running out of time to be able to wait for him to get his game. We want the visual of Conor Brown and Connor McDavid on the ice together so bad that I do think sometimes we're trying to force what just might not be there. Sometimes I don't think their styles of play match. Then there's other moments that I'm like, man, these guys could be perfect together. Conor Brown can be a shooter, do the hard work, go on the boards, but it just really isn't there. I see Chell, all capitals, $3 million next season. Get used to it, baby, because we're paying that, and it's going to happen. I haven't seen a lot of Darnell Nurse contract money lately. So I think everybody's finding a new guy to get mad at. Well, Conor Brown, definitely one of them.
I would say the new whipping boy is starting to become Evan Bouchard very quickly, because he has been under a very massive microscope, because everything that goes in, people seem to point to him. Like, yeah, I'll admit he hasn't been perfect. He's not fun to watch defensively, but it is on every single player on the ice when it comes to some of these goals scored, especially that fourth goal. It wasn't just Bouchard. I think Bouchard, of course, could have done a lot better. Bouchard's such an interesting case. I saw something where I saw some stat where over the past 10 games, he has like the lowest goals against per 60 among Oilers defensemen who played like over 100 minutes. So Evan Bouchard's doing something. Like, he can score tons of points. I don't think we should trade Evan Bouchard, but I don't know. Evan Bouchard, when it comes to defense, you can tell it feels like his urgency just simply isn't there. And it's how a lot of Oilers fans are feeling. Oilers fans are just frustrated with like a lack of defensive competence.
For me, it's he doesn't give enough of a shit. If I can see a guy step up in the rush that fast, you better be able to back check that fast. You better want the puck. You got to rub guys out on the boards. You have to be able to win tough battles. And he just simply hasn't been doing that. I'm liking here in the chat. People giving Darnell Nurse some love. Nurse is a defensive stud. Nurse has been good. And then, of course, Eric comes in with 9.25 well spent. It felt weird not reading 9.25 in the chat. So we're back. We're getting going again. Bouchard, it's been rough. Everybody's blaming Yaremchuk right now as well. They're saying fire Tyler. I don't agree with that. I need him to host shows that I produce so we can keep him around for a little bit.
Tyler, I would say, is very smart and he's very talented. He's a good guy. But the last thing I'll say about Evan Bouchard, I just feel like in moments like that on that fourth goal, he just needs to be more of an asshole, be more of a pest, battle a little bit more and just be sure. It might be risky. You might take a penalty, but at least you're trying to stop a goal from going in. I just feel like, raise your battle level instead of just kind of floating around.
Yep. I see Kennedy in here. Hashtag Coach Bordsy. Hey, they ever need me, I'll be on the next flight out on that Eastern Road swing. I'll still do pre-gaming and I'll still do After Dark, and I will get the boys fired up. I saw it in here earlier. Somebody, but I can't remember it. But he said this chat is just Evan Bouchard sucks every 5 messages, which is very funny because last year it was all Darnell Nurse sucks every 5 messages. Yeah. So we have growth. There we go. Takeaways from today's game. We haven't really talked about him a lot, so I want your breakdown. What'd you think of Calvin Pickard?
I thought he was all right. I thought, of course, as we said, it was the second goal, I believe, that we really wanted him to stop. But other than that, you couldn't really ask too much more from Calvin Pickard. He's the last Oiler to wear 30 since Ben Scrivens in 14-15. And we all remember Scrivens is a magnificent, debut game where he had that incredible shutout, right? So, but I thought Pickard was fine. He did his role as a backup. It just, unfortunately, the defense in front of him let him down. And I think even, Bobrovsky, there's probably a goal or two there he could have saved, right? So, he came in for relief for Mr. Stuart Skinner from the last game. And it'll be interesting. I'm rooting for Pickard. I thought it was an all right outing.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he was great. I don't necessarily think he's the reason we lost that game. Granted, I know it's a 2-goal game with the empty netter, but that second one off of that hit Zach Hyman's back, I need Pickard to stop that one. But to be completely fair, man, he made a lot of saves when we needed him to make saves, trying to stay in this game and not be completely out of it. So he was able to do that. We always talk about, I need you to just make the key saves when I need it, and I thought for the most part he did that. He wasn't perfect. Once again, it hammers home to me. You're riding Stuart Skinner completely. I've been saying I don't think Calvin Pickard is going to come magically turn this team around and get on a run. Granted, as I say that on pre-gaming, I made plenty of jokes about this is it, baby. We're about to go. But I think anybody in their right mind, that's who Calvin Pickard is. He had an 871 today. That's just kind of what you come to expect. That's a backup goaltender. Once again, if anybody's shitting on him and going over him, that's what Chell just said. Pickard greater than Campbell. Don't take it out on Pickard. You take that shit out on Jack Campbell. Honestly, just kind of moving along.
I was going to say, I feel like Pickard probably in that second intermission gave Jack Campbell a call and asked him, how did you manage with this for so long? They're just firing pucks at me. I don't know what to do.
See, when now we've had 3 different goaltenders in the net, and it seems to be the same story for every single goaltender. Maybe they're all below average. I don't necessarily think that, especially when it comes to Stuart Skinner, the rest of me. But when it continues to happen to all of them, it makes you think that, hey, there is 5 other guys on the ice in front of them that need to do stuff. Speaking of other players on the ice, they talked about in the first intermission, what a first period that was too. All the pressure, all the blame, whatever you want to give it, has been on McDavid and Draisaitl for not carrying this team on their 2 shoulders. Besides Evander Kane and Zach Hyman, I get that they're the best players on the team. They're some of the best in the world. But besides Kane and Hyman, I can't really think of a single other player that has been consistent and good this season. Can you? Warren Fogle.
That's probably about it, honestly. And you make a great point. I actually have the numbers here in front of me. Edmonton's bottom 6 results last season. The Oilers' bottom 6 last year had a goals for percentage of 55.2%. That's the highest throughout the McDavid era. Right now, the Oilers' bottom 6 is averaging a goals for percentage of 37.5%. So the Oilers' bottom six last year honestly performed much better than I think. And that's why we said the Oilers had depth, because they were scoring last year. Last year, you did have McLeod chipping in here and there. You had the Klim Kostin. Who else? Kyler Yamamoto. But this year, like, we've had bottom six goals. Bouchard, he came in late. And now you had 2 goals from Derek Ryan the other night, and that's been about it. Maybe Sam Gagner.
And that was one game.
Yeah, exactly. It's been not enough. And it's going to be interesting to see how things go from here, because the Oilers, they need more from players not named 97 and 29. That's happening right now. And even when 29 97 do start to pick it up a bit, it's not enough.
Yeah, that doesn't mean take your foot off the gas if you're those guys. Bottom 6 players for me, they aren't going to put up points every single game in limited minutes, whatever they do. I do expect you to get on the score sheet sometimes, but I think it was Jamal Mayers was saying it. If you're going to be one of those guys, you have to affect the game, be physical, make winning plays. The stuff I just said about Evan Bouchard. And that leads me tonight. I just see it in here from TJJ. Adam Ernie was that tonight. We have been shitting on this guy all year. He's been a punching bag. That man was out for blood at the beginning of the game. I believe, I forget who it was. I think I had it written down somewhere here. Either way, they went, I think of those, Nick Cousins was trying to like get at Conor Brown, chasing him around the ice, laid a big hit on him, did his thing. Adam Ernie waited, took a number, and then he ran his ass into the boards, took it out on him. I love that from Adam Ernie. He was in scrums. Once again, limited action, but that's what I want from my fourth line guys.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably why the Oilers brought him in, because he can bring in a bit of a physical element. He's not afraid to drop the gloves, you know. He is wearing 21, the infamous Klim Kostin's number. He could be, honestly, a cost replacement.
For me.
If he was just shooting the puck and scoring more like Kostin last year, we wouldn't be too pissed about him. But unfortunately, that hasn't been enough for the Oilers. But I do like to see it. We need more of it out of multiple players.
Yep, I see it in here. James Hamblin had a good chance today, too. He just lifted it straight over the net. But this breaks my heart. My grandfather, who has been a lifelong Oilers fan, he went to all the Stanley Cups back in the day. He just texted me, and he said, we are not making the playoffs. The hole is too deep, and it's getting deeper. I never saw this coming. No, Grandpa, no. No, Grandpa, no. I don't want to hear that from him. That breaks my heart. He's seen everything under the Edmonton Oilers rainbow, whatever you want to call it. He's seen it all. So I got to tend to believe him, and it's the Thanksgiving line. Time is starting to run out. I know we're only, 16, 17 games into the season, whatever we're at.
Well, yeah.
But it's getting tough right now. It's another blown lead. You're winning in that game. Man, both of these games we've played, we had first period leads. We somehow let it slip. Playoff teams don't let that happen, Was.
No, I agree. And I brought this up before. It's like we're seeing the complete opposite from last year, where I remember last year, the Oilers would always allow the first goal of the game, the first shot on net, and we're just like looking at the goaltenders, what are you guys doing? But they would still find a way to get back in the games. And they had an inconsistent start to the season last year where they would win 1, lose 2, win 2, lose 2. But, last year, the Oilers under Woodcroft, they ended the season with an outstanding 17-0-1 record. So historically, the Oilers do pick it up in the second half of the season. The worry now is that we might be in a position where that's not going to be enough to make the playoffs, get into a wild card position, and go from there. Because once you make the dance, anything can happen. We've seen from past teams. Everyone alludes to the St. Louis Blues of 2019, where they were at the bottom of the standings in January, and they went out to win the Stanley Cup. I don't know what's going to happen, right? It's just every game is a different storyline. It's a different show, soap opera, whatever you want to call it.
Yep. Life is like a box, or the Edmonton Oilers are like a box of chocolates, because you never know what you are going to get. See everybody in here agreeing with my grandfather. That hurts. Number one fan asked panic button. Buddy, I smashed that on like game 9 of the season. I've been living in panic mode for really as long as I can remember. Steven says this team needs to go 35, 16, and 14 to make the playoffs. That 15 is a little something there. That's a tough number to make happen. I do believe that we always are better in the second half, but it's games like this and games like Tampa Bay that when we got 10 left in the season and they're showing us that damn in the hunt graphic all the time, you're going to remember a good 4 points you could have had on this road swing that you let slip away. And it's tough. I hate that I'm thinking like that already early this season, but we are way past all of that. Just looking in here. I did like this. This is just one thing. For the knob that I've noticed, a little coaching tendency for him is right after Philip Broberg stepped on that stick and he biffed backwards and allowed a goal, Nobby kept him out there, and he kept him out for the next faceoff to show him, hey, I believe in you. I think you can do it. Like, don't worry, don't. What did you think of that, Waz?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I was bringing up an interesting quote from McDavid earlier today, but bring that up one more time.
That Philip Broberg, after he had the goal against, that Nobby kept him out on the ice for the next faceoff.
I actually like that. Yeah, no, 100%. Thank you. Because we saw Broberg have an absolute mishap under Jay Woodcroft, and Jay Woodcroft stapled his ass to the bench. And, it's interesting. That's kind of what fans are wanting to see from Knoblauch. They want to see him bench players who are not playing well. But in this case, he went and let Broberg learn from his mistake. It wasn't really a mistake. It was unlucky, right? So, good on Broberg. I thought he looked all right. I didn't think he was bad. I'd fault the defenseman out there.
Yeah, exactly. I like that from Nobby, especially to your young guys. That's one thing I wasn't a huge fan of with Woody was his, zero hesitancy to bench him and sit him for the rest of the game because he's a young player and he needs to get better. I got to do something here to switch up the vibes. We'll wind down right a bit here, but it's been really rough right now, and we have American Thanksgiving come up. Everybody in the chat, tell me one thing you're grateful for because I'm having a hard time right now. I'm going to say that I'm grateful that I am dusting in fantasy football leagues. I'm going 4-0 this week
actually
in my 4 leagues. I'm in a playoff spot in all 4 leagues. What about you? What are you grateful for, Waz?
Josh Dobbs on my fantasy team. Ever since I traded for him in the most obscure trade ever, my fantasy team has turned around, and we are fighting for a playoff spot. So we are in a good way. Shout out Josh Dobbs.
Hey, there you go. Angie said Aaron and Waz. So, hey, as long as we can make your lives brighter, I can do that. Final buzzer says, show us your toe. Hey, join the Discord. Maybe I'll put in a toe picture in there. Because
if it helps, I have 4 toes. It's getting bloodier and bloodier, dude. Hey, man, it's okay. I got 4 toes on my right foot.
Yeah, I see Jake. Whoa, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Waz feet pics too. If we get 100 likes, we'll get feet pics from both of us. If that's not selling you, I don't know what's gonna sell you.
Hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and you'll get toe pics.
QF Pro says my weekly therapy. I am not a certified therapist or anything, but I've said as a lifelong Edmontonian, I feel very qualified to do this job. I guess we've gone 45 here, Waz. Let me ask you as we wind down. Next game. So it's weird. There's not a single game in the NHL tomorrow. Very confused by that one. I don't really get why. But Wednesday, we take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Looking at the colors on my phone right now, I'll never get over 2006, and I will hate them forever, especially Rod Brindamore behind the bench. But Skinner should be back in the net. Waz, what's your score prediction? And give me an anytime goal score.
I'll go 5-3 Oilers, and I will go with a Evan Bouchard goal for sure. He's due. He's been scoring a lot, regardless of what people say about him. He finds a way to get the puck in the back of the net. I believe he's leading the Oilers' second in points right now, behind Leon Draisaitl. So it's probably going to be a power play goal from Bouchard. And also, today I made a graphic with Connor McDavid was not on. I put the Oilers' leading point scorers, and Mr. McDavid was not on there, but he will be now. So.
The one thing we got to remember with Bouchard, right, as much as we want to tear him down for his defensive woes, that man knows how to quarterback a power play. That guy puts points up. We do have to address that. We are aware of that. That's why he's still on the team, and that's why he's getting paid what he's getting paid. For me, Carolina, normally it's not. I hate betting the under. I might bet the under with this one. Once again, we'll never predict anything but an Oilers victory. Do I feel confident as I say this? Not at all, but I'm going to say 3-1 Oilers. I hate seeing people in here 4-1 Canes, 4-1 Canes. That hurts my soul. We still have to believe, everybody. I see Kennedy and Gina in here saying, Aaron, you might have to go get stitches. I'm going to send you two a photo. I think I might have to go get stitches on my toe. And yeah, we'll address that one further as we go. Waz, I want to say thank you for coming on here, being the people's therapist, being the people's champ, and my connection's so shitty that they got to look at your smiling face more than mine. And everybody appreciates a good Waz smile.
You're welcome. I'm just here.
There you go.
I just do my thing.
Thank you to Pat. He is behind the scenes doing his thing. He's the man. He's the boy. Doing a great job. Final shout out to our sponsors, Crown Royal, DoorDash, Alberta Blue Cross, and Greta. I know it's Monday night, so hey, maybe not tonight, but Wednesday, maybe Friday. That's an early one too. Maybe you get some drinks, get some food right after we're done. Shout out to Wendy's as well. They get it done. They do their thing. I might need to Shane eat right now. Also, if I'm waiting at the emergency room, maybe I'll DoorDash some Wendy's. I love you all. We'll be back on Wednesday to do this stupid dance all over again. I'll be here. You'll be here. We'll get through this together, everybody. Good night. Have a good sleep. And see you on Oilers Nation every day tomorrow, 12:01 Mountain. Good night.